And folks, we want to remind you, of course, this is Norristown's homecoming game. At halftime, we'll have some reports for you on the floats and the homecoming queen and king and their court and all those wonderful festivities. So please stay tuned at halftime for those things.
Well, that's one quarter. Damon Carroll with 49 yards and adding to it.
Damon Carroll with a fine run, handoff from Nadasic. It's going to be about a 9-yard pickup on the play. We'll see where they spot the ball. And they move it back a yard. Let's call it 8 yards on the carry. So the Eagles now at the 28-yard line of Council Rock. Now we see Hicks and Milligan now with the 2 wideouts, which we hadn't seen really in the first quarter. And the backs in the traditional I formation. Carroll up the middle again, first down. Once again, Damon Carroll bulls forward, picks up the 2 he needed, plus, let's call it 2 more, 4 yards on the carry.
And that time he got a good lead from number 3, Lofton Thompson, who led him right through the hole. And Thompson, with Thompson out in front and that good line up front, Carroll was easily able to sneak through.
It's interesting, both teams really coming out with very different formations, almost not every series, the Council Rock almost every play.
And I think as you get deeper into the, looks like we're going to have a timeout here by the Eagles. And Jeff, as you get deeper into the season, you're able to do more things. You also know what you can and can't do. So if Council Rock had started with too many plays, and they can cut it down, but obviously their coach thinks that they're able to handle these formations and is trying to fool Norristown a little bit.
Looked like, Walt, on this timeout, there was a little confusion there for the Norristown offense. Team sort of looking beseechingly at Roger Grove on the sidelines, like, what are we doing here, Coach?
Well, that's what the different formations will do. You know, they certainly don't have all day to practice as the pros do. And sometimes you get out in these formations and you start to maybe forget assignments or maybe somebody's in the wrong spot. So rather than give up yardage here and take a penalty in a formation or a motion or even something worse like a turnover, it was a smart play to call a timeout, as Norristown hasn't used any yet in the first half.
And while we have just a brief break of the action, we of course want to thank the Norristown Area School District for bringing you this ball game. Mr. Tony Koya, the Director of Communications, and Mr. Sam Galbraith, our Director here this evening, and his able assistants, Garrett Hickman and Jeff Holland, working camera for us. We also want to thank Greg Fry, who's compiling our accurate statistics, up-to-the-minute recording of each play as it happens.
And he is for hire for anybody who needs statistics.
Lofton Thompson around the right side. He's got room, stays on his feet. Great balance that time. Down to the 10-yard line for an Eagle first down. And that was a 15-yard carry that time by the Eagle back. And I'll tell you, what great poise and balance by Lofton Thompson.
Yeah, that little misdirection just held the Council Rock defenders on the right side just enough to allow Thompson to turn the corner. And if you turn a corner and get a Norristown lineman out in front of you, that's going to go for good yardage most of the time. So now Norristown down with, looks like they have about half a foot in front of the goal line, so they can get the first down theoretically without the touchdown. But I don't think we'll see that.
Yep. 10 yards to the end zone. Kelly and Carroll are the backs. They go to Carroll, right up the middle, behind Kelly. Flags on the play. The ball is loose, and I didn't hear a whistle, Walt. I'm going to call that a fumble.
Well, they haven't given the signal yet because we will need the penalty call as well. But I think he was down. I think they're going to call him down.
That doesn't seem to be the players' reaction. Looks like the squads are coming off the field. There's a big congregation of officials there trying to decide this one.
Yep. Council Rock ball.
The call was a legal procedure against Norristown, holding against Norristown. Both of those penalties will be declined, and that is a fumble, and Council Rock with a big defensive play. The Eagles driving for a score, and there's a turnover at their own 7-yard line. The Indians will have the ball 1st and 10 with 10:15 to play in the first half.
Well, that's certainly a huge play for the Indians, as Norristown was knocking on the door to put it 14-0. And Council Rock with a big stand, drew 2 penalties on that play, and then caused a fumble as Carroll tried to get a couple extra yards inside. So you can be sure that they won't be happy about that. But now Council Rock is in a tough spot.
This time we have wide receivers to the left and the right. Number 20, Sean Highland, the quarterback. Long count. The handoff goes to Galtieri on the right side. Ra-Ra Lusain stood him up. and number 4, Lamont Johnson, brought him down.
Yeah, Lamont Johnson out there on the island and going against a bigger Galtieri, but a great job of grabbing him and hanging on. Didn't let Galtieri square his shoulders to the line of scrimmage, and it's pretty easy to tackle him back no matter what the size when you get him like that.
And Lamont Johnson is playing that monster back position. He's a rover out there looking for the key position. At the corners, of course, Damon Carroll and Omar Jenkins. The safety is number 21, Joe Milligan.
And this time you see Johnson lined up on the right side.
It was a 1-yard loss on the last play. The tight end comes in motion, sets on the left side of the line. The handoff to Galtieri. They follow that tight end off the strong side, but really didn't pick up much at all. On that first play from scrimmage, it was a 1-yard loss. Let's call that a 2-yard gain and make it 3rd down and 9 from still the 9-yard line.
Well, again, Council Rock really not doing much with their running game so far. But they were going to try to go straight ahead, but they're trying to get to the outside on Norristown. And there aren't many teams that have done that this year. Even in the games Norristown's lost, they've been pounded up the middle. So now with not a real developed passing game, Council Rock's in a tough spot at 3rd and 8.
I think we might see a pass here on 3rd and 8. No, they give the draw that time to Galtieri, I believe, the last back there, and he's driven for a loss. So it'll be a quick series for Council Rock, and they'll have to punt the ball away. And that time a loss of a yard on the play makes it 4th and 10. And we'll see number 7, Len Becker again. He's getting a real workout here in this first half with his punting chores.
Council Rock tried to get Galtieri to the outside and get some yardage around the corner. After that, they were just trying to get out and get Becker some room to punt, and they haven't even done that.
I think you're going to see Norristown come after him. And we've got flags everywhere, whistles galore. We'll see if Norristown jumped or if it was Council Rock that had some motion before the snap. The Eagles should certainly get great field position out of this drive. That's illegal procedure against Council Rock. We'll move them back another several yards, I guess half the distance to the goal line at this point. They're only at about their own 7-yard line, so we'll move it back to about the 3. And instead of being 6 yards deep in the end zone, Len Becker will be 9 yards deep in the end zone.
Well, he's got his heels right back against there, and you just saw him check it out.
Snap's important. It's a good one. No pressure. Good kick. Spiraling kick taken by Hicks at about the 48-yard line. He's got room. They're going to give it to Carroll. Oh, they fumble the ball. Oh, boy, I'll tell you. Rich Hicks, if he'd just taken that ball forward, could have picked up 15 yards, but they had a set play. They tried a little reverse to Damon Carroll. The ball sprung loose. It was at number 3, Lamont Johnson, Lofton Thompson, who grabbed that ball.
And Hicks never even looked upfield to see number 50, Scott Abbott, steaming right down. Abbott had a beeline on that play the whole time. He was going straight at Carroll. He was running downfield, but wasn't even looking at Hicks. And Hicks could have had 10, 15 yards easy, and maybe with a move some more up the sideline. And Norristown would have been in great position, but I think that was probably not the good time to call that play. And I don't know how much leeway they have to change that once they're out on the field. But at that point in that field position, probably not the best move.
Well, that's about as good as Council Rock could have hoped for. The Eagles will have it 1st and 10 from the Rock 48-yard line. And we have timeout called by quarterback A.J. Nadasic with 6:54 to play in the first half. Still, folks, 7-0. The Eagles scored on their first possession of the game. Good smash-mouth drive culminating in a Damon Carroll touchdown run of 37 yards. The extra point by Morano has been the only scoring so far here tonight. And boy, I tell you, that was a heck of a kick by Becker. He really put some leg into that ball. It drove Hicks back 10 yards.
He had great hang time, and that's what he needed to allow his man to dash down the field and break up that play that Norristown was trying to run. I think that play is probably designed for something that's a little bit shorter, a little bit lower. But Becker hung it up there and had a great spiral on it and drove Hicks backwards. So it gave the Council Rock special teams time to see what was developing, and it took a little too long for Norristown to develop it. But sure, Becker certainly saved them right there, and we're seeing the importance of the special teams early and often in this game.
I'm sorry, Walt. Now we see that 3-back set again with Joe Milligan to the bottom of your screen. They fake the pitch, go up the middle for a big gain. It's going to be 12 yards, and on the carry, That's Norristown's second back, Lofton Thompson. You've mentioned it before on many teams in this division. Lofton Thompson would be the featured back.
Absolutely. You see how fast he is right there hitting the middle, but that play requires everybody involved. You need a good decoy from Nadasic, and you need Carroll really selling that like he's getting the pitch. And you need the line to hold that play, because that's a play that can really be broken up by the defense if they penetrate at all.
So the Eagles again, 1st and 10. Carroll is gang tackled. I can't believe he actually fought forward to get a couple yards on that play. He was stopped dead at the line of scrimmage, but managed to pick up, let's call it 2 yards on the carry.
Well, again, nobody hit him straight on, squared the shoulders. He slipped through them a little bit through the Council Rock defenders, and they went up on his back, and that allowed him to drag them for a couple yards.
So now with the clock running and just over 6 minutes to play, the Eagles face 2nd and 8 from the 34-yard line of the Indians. And Nadasic checking with his backs here. Again, the 3-back set. That's Thompson, Carroll, and Kelly. Long count. Nadasic looks to pass. There's a flag down. Man wide open. Tight end Shell is down to the 6-yard line. But, folks, I'm afraid that's all going to come back. There's a flag on the far side of the field, and I'm guessing it's probably motion. Yep, illegal motion against Norristown, and that big gain of 30 yards is going to come all the way back.
And that really hurts, because certainly on that side of the field, it's a penalty that didn't contribute to the play at all. It's just somebody who moving early or moving forward. And that really hurts, because Norristown called the perfect play in that situation, and Nadasic made a great throw. Shell got himself open and really sneaked down the sideline. They weren't expecting him as he came off the end on the short side of the field. It would have been a huge play and a backbreaker for Council Rock, but once again, they catch another break.
So the Eagles now face 2nd and 13 from the 39-yard line after that 5-yard penalty, and they show us a different set yet again. This time Kelly's the only back. Oh boy, that's trouble. I don't know how Nadasic got that ball off to Kelly, but he did. James Kelly up the middle, 1st down. And give A.J. Nadasic a ton of credit. He had a man right in his face, number 66, Kevin Bowles.
Well, that play is designed to work like that too, just not with that much pressure. That man is supposed to come in and have Nadasic lofted over. Well, Norristown wants Nadasic to loft it over his head, but he came in a little bit too fast. Nadasic a great job of finding Kelly. Didn't put it behind him, put it right on the hands. And Jeff Fisk was out in front and held his block for a good 5 seconds as that play was developing, and Kelly just ran right by him as he had his man locked up. That's that technique Roger Grove will tell you about, that Jeff Fisk is the best lineman he's had here.
Well, I'll tell you, the Eagles faced 2nd and 13. They picked up 16 on that pass play, and they've got it 1st and 10 now from the 23-yard line. Great play that time by the Eagles. 4:44 to play in the first half. The pitch goes to Carroll. The defense comes up. Damon Carroll's into the backfield. Tackled by the safety at the 10-yard line. So very quickly, the Eagles right back to where they were 3 or 4 minutes ago, and that's at the 10-yard line of the Indians.
And that's back to their bread and butter, but it was the play before that allows them to do that. We've wondered all year if Norristown would ever start throwing to their backs more. That time, certainly the third man you'd expect to get it, James Kelly, the fullback. But that fullback screen is often very effective, especially when you have two talented backs like Carroll and Thompson.
So Carroll, 13 yards on the carry. 1st and 10 Eagles. They do have the opportunity for a 1st down. It's inside the 1-yard point. Fumble. I don't believe it. We're going to wait for the pile to unfold. Nadasic acts like Norristown has the ball, and it was Jeff Fisk, number 66, who saves the day for Norristown. 1st and 10 from just outside the 10-yard line, and they fumble on the exchange.
Yeah, Nadasic came running over to the sidelines to get the next play and try and wipe that one out of his memory. If you fumble the ball in the exchange from center down in that area, you don't come running to the sideline that quickly. You don't want to really get over there too fast, but Nadasic now wants to atone.
Now 2nd and 10 from just outside the 10. The pitch to Carroll. Finds a hole inside, close to the end zone, brought down inside the 5-yard line, down at about the 3. Let's give Damon 7 yards on that carry. Well, I tell you, they just depend upon Damon to pick his way through the middle there. It was the same play we've seen often tonight, that pitch to the right or the left, this time to the right. We've got an official's time on the field. Council Rock player is down.
Well, that's Norristown's game. It's Carroll's vision and their great blocking schemes. Carroll on that run got 7 yards and never got full speed, but his linemen get out there and just hold their blocks, seal off exactly what they're supposed to get. And Carroll, the play is designed to set up holes right where he's looking, and he really doesn't have to do too much, just pick his way through. But when you can get 7 yards and never be going full speed, that's a testament to the blocking.
So now a big play here for Norristown. They can achieve a first down, and just inside the 1, I guess. I'm not sure in this situation with a 7-point lead whether Roger Grove would consider this 2 downs to go into the end zone or whether he'd play it safe and kick a field goal here.
That's a real interesting question, because you go up by 10 the way Norristown's defense is playing. You are in pretty good shape, but I think he's looking at 2 downs here to get in the end zone with the way his line is controlling the game. I don't think there's any reason to kick a field goal right here, but certainly you couldn't argue with either decision.
Council Rock injured player is off the field. Norristown sets the backs in the eye. Hicks to the right, Milligan in the slot. Handoff goes to Thompson.
That's the way to make the decision easy.
Touchdown. Touchdown Norristown, that's right. Eagles put 6 more on the board. Lofton Thompson off the left side over left tackle. Picks up 4 yards and a touchdown. Well, I guess since I called the last one the 3-yard line, we've got to only give Lofton 3 yards on that touchdown carry. What do you think, Walt?
And Lofton won't argue. I think the touchdown, he'll take the touchdown and not argue about the yardage.
All right. Albie Morano on for the extra point, and Nadasic is the holder. Morano's been almost automatic this year. And he's got another one good. Excellent kick. That time he put it out of the field. That ball went into the parking lot here at Roosevelt Field. A heck of a kick by Albie Morano. And the Eagles go up 14-0 with 2:54 to play here in the first half.
More unheralded special teams play. You can't underestimate the importance of that snap. And it's certainly not something that's automatic if you've ever tried to do it. It's not an easy thing to do. But Jason Fabian, their regular center, also their long snapper, and has been very good this year.
So Norristown brings this drive to some fruition. A little frustrating the previous several drives, ending in turnovers and lost opportunities. But Norristown now with a strong 14-point lead here in the first half of this very important Suburban 1 League matchup.
And Jeff, it's field position. You lose the war of field position, you're usually going to lose the game most of the time. Norristown's 2 touchdown drives have been 57 and 53 yards, and they've had Council Rock pinned back, and the only way they've gotten pushed back as far as they have is with good special teams play and a good punt. So Council Rock certainly can't expect to win a game giving Norristown field position like that, but they gave it to them on the first play of the game when they kicked it short.
Ball blows off the tee for Albie Morano. He'll reset the ball. And back deep again for the Indians. We're going to have number 34 Galtieri and number 22 Trevor Robinson. Morano's ready. The kick is up. It's a great kick. Taken by Galtieri at about the 10-yard line. He's got his blockers up the right side. He's got room to run. Galtieri cross midfield. He's brought down at the Norristown 49-yard line. And boy, I'll tell you, that was a nice blocking front they put up that time by Council Rock.
That is one fast back. I mean, Norristown, now you know how good a job they're doing, not letting Galtieri run the ball for any significant yardage from the line of scrimmage. But that time, he just had a little crack in his special teams in front of him, and no moves at all, just turned on the speed and got Council Rock in a position to do something at the end of this half.
That was a 40-yard run back that time by Galtieri. They put it right at midfield, the 50-yard line. This time, Highland keeps the ball. He's got pressure. He looks, and just throws the ball away. Number 20, Sean Highland, that time had to throw across his body, and once the initial receiver was unavailable, that play sort of busted up on him very quickly.
Yes, and on rolling to that sideline, you really limit your options. He was designed to roll that way, but not quite that far. And Norristown came over well and really squeezed off all the receivers and gave him no other option but to throw it out of bounds.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 now. 2:19 to play here in the half. Again, the ball right at midfield. Single back. Highland again rolls to the near side. Good blocking out front. Gant's got pressure now. Highland's going to have to get rid of the ball. Jeff Fisk lunges, can't make the tackle. Here comes Ra-Ra Lusain, and it's almost intercepted by Omar Jenkins. Is that a reception, Walt, after all of that? I believe it is. I believe that ball was finally reeled in by number 32, Tim Ortman. And I tell you what, Sean Highland just ran about 40 yards on that play, all side to side.
That's an incredibly athletic play. I thought he was going to be tackled twice back there, but Highland obviously has confidence in his escapability and a great sideline throw as Omar Jenkins was trying to read that play and come up on it, but Highland, some good arm strength on the run to fire it into his receiver.
And he got it back to the line of scrimmage. Is that the longest play you ever saw that went back to the line of scrimmage? 3rd and 10, folks. 2 wide receivers. Got a lot of players blocking out in front for him. Highland looks to run, and that's not going to be anywhere close to a first down. Picked up about 4 or 5. Oh, I think we're going to see a face mask at the end of that play. I believe it was number 79 that made the tackle for Norristown, James Ballard. That's it. Face mask. Yeah, that's a shame because Ballard had him locked up, and I think that was an inadvertent. Got his hand tied up in the mask as he ripped Highland down, and that's going to be a first down.
And now Council Rock is trying to use Highland's athleticism a little bit more as they're trying to find receivers downfield, but Norristown's shutting that down, and that time as he tried to cut it up. As you said, Jeff, all the defenders on that side to defend the pass, and Highland just caught a break that a hand slipped onto the face mask.
So this game's certainly not clean, Walt, with all the turnovers and the key penalties that we've seen. We're under 2 minutes to play, and Council Rock, instead of being in a 4th down and a punting situation, has new life breathed into this drive, and they have 1st and 10 from the Norristown 31-yard line. 3 receivers right. Highland, the quick pitch, pass out of the backfield to Galtieri. He's going to be close to a first down before he's finally brought down by the Norristown secondary. It was a well-conceived play that time. Galtieri had room to run on the right.
And that makes more sense. That seems to be the best way to use their skill players. They have a big line but small skill players. So that time they got them the ball quickly, but on the outside. As they're trying to run up inside, Norristown's stuffing that well tonight. But Galtieri, as he swung out to the wing, had some room to run.
Got 9 yards on the play. It's 2nd and really less than a yard from about the 22-yard line of the Eagles. Long count. Highland has the ball. He's got room for the first down. He's tripped up, but dives forward, picks up about 4 yards on the play, and it's first down for the Rock.
And now they're gaining yardage as Norristown's beginning to see that there's other things to worry about. At first, Council Rock really wasn't doing much with their offense at all and was not very imaginative despite all their different formations. But now, as they see Highland's athleticism and that he's dangerous running the ball, Norristown has a few more things to think about, and you're going to see more 3- and 4-yard gains.
And head coach Mike Ortman calls time for the Indians. This is an important time in the ball game for them, certainly. There's a minute to play here in the first half. They've just gotten a first down. Line of scrimmage will be the 17-yard line of the Eagles. So certainly plenty of time to get the ball into the end zone, and the Rock wants to come away with 7 here, Walt, to tighten this game up.
Definitely. Well, a field goal, you still need 2 scores. You never think about the tie, especially in the position that Council Rock is in right now in Suburban 1 National. So you get a field goal, you still need 2 scores to win. So I think they're certainly in 4-down territory at this point, as Norristown wouldn't be a threat to score because of the time factor.
So we'll see what the timeout does for the Indians. Again, the line of scrimmage will be the 17-yard line of Norristown. 1st and 10. And Sean Highland, quarterback, number 20, has done a good job on this drive, keeping things alive. Of course, the best thing he did was to have somebody rip his face mask, because
that was their biggest gain of the night so far.
Backs in the eye. Highland holds the ball, gives it to Galtieri around the right side. He's got good pursuit that time, and I tell you, there's one guy on the field he can't outrun, and that's number 2, Damon Carroll, who just stuck it to him. and really held that ball for no gain.
That's the first time we've seen Damon Carroll this year, as far as I can recall, have to come up on the corner and make a hit. And we certainly know now that he can do it. Now you know why some of the schools that are recruiting him, some of the top schools, are, believe it or not, thinking about him as a defensive back and not even as a running back, because that great speed, and you saw that the explosiveness that he has on the offensive side, he also uses on the defensive side. And Galtieri thought he had a little bit of room, but here comes that Damon Carroll like a train right up to meet him.
Really drove him hard out of bounds. A pickup of about a yard on the play will make it 2nd down and 9. And again, Mike Ortman calls time to mull it over with his offensive squad here.
And again, has to be frustration for the Council Rock Indians. They're finally starting to use what looks like their best player, their best skilled player, and that's Jim Galtieri. And Norristown counters with Galtieri's biggest weapon ×2, and that's speed in Damon Carroll. So it's really frustrating when you play a team as athletic as Norristown, because you try and use size and they hold you off there, and then you try and use speed, and that just doesn't beat them.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm just surveying the crowd here a little bit. I'm really impressed at the turnout for a Monday night football game, a rescheduled ball game from Saturday. This is as much or more as many Friday nights over the last couple of years.
Well, I'm sure the homecoming has drawn them out some, and it's certainly nice to see that they could rearrange their schedules to get here, as homecoming is always a great event, and it is a good night.
2nd and 9 for the Rock. Highland, a long count. Gives it to Galtieri on a busted play, and I don't think so. That time, deep into the midst of that play for the Norristown Eagles was number 69, Mike Childs. And I think Highland thought he was handing off to Childs that time.
He's lucky he didn't.
He's trying to give the ball to Galtieri coming through the middle, but Childs was stuck in the middle of it. The clock's running now with 25 seconds to play in the half. Loss of a yard, call it 3rd and 10 from the Eagle 18-yard line. Highland, the straight drop, looks up top, almost intercepted by the Eagles that time. Really, there was no receiver very close to that ball. Now, wait a minute, they're calling that an interception. Boy, I'll tell you, I thought for sure that ball hit the ground.
Oh, that's a tip. Number 4, Lamont Johnson, kept it up in the air just long enough for Damon Carroll to come in, slip his arms underneath it, and Carroll was looking to get up and go, but an alert play by the Indians receiver to come up and drag Carroll down before it could get any momentum going.
Well, I'll tell you, usually we can pick those plays up pretty well. That ball certainly looked like it hit the ground to me, but the official was right on top of it, called it a clean interception. The clock is running, though, with 6 seconds to play before halftime. We won't have another snap. That'll be the end of the half, and the Eagles get a break here at the end of the first half with a big interception. And at halftime, it's Norristown 14, Council Rock 0. Walt and I will be back after halftime festivities to discuss that first half of play. But folks, please stay tuned now while we describe for you the homecoming activities and also give you the crowning of the homecoming queen and king in their court. So we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.